Hello, welcome to this new episode of my Game Boy collection. We're still on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color today, and as a matter of fact, still on the 90s cartoon section as it were, with yet another Tiny Toon Adventure game. So let's see what this game has to offer. In the two previous episodes, we explored the two Game Boy games that I got of my all-time favorite 90s cartoon, Tiny Toon Adventures. The first one, Bob's Big Break, is my all-time favorite game in the Game Boy, while the second installment in the series of Tiny Toon Adventures games failed to live up to the hype of the first one. It's now time to review the third one in this trilogy, so to speak, the Tiny Toon Adventures Wacky Sports. There is an interesting story behind the way I got this game. When I was 12 or so, I found this game in a video game store, and due to my obsession with this cartoon at the time, and the fact that I couldn't find Bob's Big Break anywhere, this would serve as a great consolation prize. Everything Tiny Toon related was something that I aspired to obtain. I got comic books, figurines, stickers, etc. So when I saw that I could actually get a Game Boy game of it, I was thrilled. The only obstacle was money. When I accidentally saw this on the video game store, I didn't have enough money with me to buy it, and my parents weren't around as I was out with friends. By the time it would take me to run home and back, the store would be closed, so I figured I could just wait a day and get it tomorrow. However, I was in bad luck, as the game was sold by the time I got there, so the game was gone and I wouldn't find it anywhere else for a long time. As I said in previous episodes, in my early 20s I began buying Game Boy games off the internet, and this is pretty much the way I got most of my most recent games. Having purchased the two previous games online, I would be amiss if I didn't get the third one as well. And the fact is that I got all three of them in pretty much the same time, as my love for the Game Boy was rekindled with the purchase of the Game Boy Advance SP. Now let's talk about the game itself. It was released in 1994, and this game is part of a bundle of sports-related games with the Tiny Toons. Games like that were released in the NES and the Super NES consoles as well at the time. This is not surprising really, as Tiny Toon Adventures were at their peak of popularity among children, and a lot of cool video games were released back then. As such, it is no wonder that the show got 3 Game Boy games. In this one, you get to play all sorts of sports-related mini-games, which are mostly fun, though some could be a bit annoying. You play as either Buster or Babs Bunny, no relation, which is nice and echoes the interchangeability of the first one. The first sport is baseball, which is actually kind of difficult for a first stage, but still manageable. Later on you have the American football, which is a lot easier as its patterns are really predictable. Then there's the tennis, which is by far the toughest, and that's the first downside of the game, because if you lose here, or anywhere actually, and you most definitely will lose in tennis, you don't get to try again. There is no lives system in this game. If you don't qualify, then it's back to square one, which can be really irritating. To be fair, there is a cheat code that allows you to browse through the sports, which is cool, but on the other hand, this should be a feature and not a cheat code. The funny thing about this is that after the tennis you've got soccer, basketball and golf, which are pretty easy. I personally think it is weird to have the most difficult level or sports event, if you will, in the middle of the game rather than the end. But I guess the game would be relatively short if it wasn't challenging. Beyond these levels, there's also the carnival levels where you get to play 2 mini games. These mini games do not actually end, but are rather based on how much you can score before you lose. I do like that every Tiny Toon of the show makes a cameo in one way or another in all these mini games. And all in all, it is a fun game with some nice graphics and sound, though it has its shortcomings. I couldn't say if it's a must-have for any collector, but I think that if you like what you see here, you should definitely check it out. So let's see how our list goes now. There are some changes to be had here. As you can see, the chronological list has been updated, that's a given, and the rank list has changed, with Tiny Toon Adventures Wacky Sports ranking close to its predecessor. I think this game is a little better than Tiny Toon Adventures, Montana's Movie Madness, and the fact that it is about my favorite cartoon growing up, it should have a rather decent place in the rank list. You can also see how this is pretty much the last game related to the Warner Brothers, as the list on the right has been updated fully. So this is it for now. If you like my video, make sure you subscribe. Remember, subscribing is free but important to our channel's future. And now if you really like this channel, you can also consider supporting me on Patreon. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this game or any other part of the series in general. Cheers!